afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the PRPS webinar, Creating a Bike-Friendly Business. My name is Nikki Tusher. I'm the Director of Training and Get Outdoors PA with the Pennsylvania Recreation and Park Society. Before we get started, I'd like to mention a few housekeeping points. This webinar is now being recorded and all participants are muted. If you have questions or comments, please submit them in the chat box at the bottom left side of your screen. The speakers will either address them during the webinar or at the completion of the event. You will receive a link to the recorded webinar and a copy of the presentation slides following the webinar via email. This webinar has been approved for 0.1 CEU or 1 contact hour. The final presentation slide includes a link to the quiz and instructions. Please make sure to take the quiz immediately following the presentation. A little bit of background about who we are. The Pennsylvania Recreation and Park Society was founded in 1935 and is the principal organization promoting quality recreation and park opportunities through education, training, advocacy, and technical assistance for those working and volunteering in the field. Please visit prps.org for more information, including upcoming training, events, and opportunities. Some learning objectives for today's webinar. You will learn what a bike-friendly business is and the steps to becoming one. You will also discover the benefits to becoming a bike-friendly business, and you will learn how Videon and Center Region COG use their status as bike-friendly businesses to benefit their employees and surrounding communities. We have two wonderful speakers with us today. We have Joan Potter. Joan is the Human Resources Director with Videon Central and a board member of Center Bike. Joan became a member of the Center Region Bike Coalition, now known as Center Bike, in 2011 to become involved in bicycle advocacy and was soon elected Secretary of the organization, a position she has held for 5 years. She enjoys providing support and encouragement to businesses interested in applying for bike-friendly business status. Trish Meek is a Senior Transportation Planner with the Center Regional Planning Agency and has been with them for almost 24 years. The Center Regional Planning Agency provides services to the Greater State College area, referred to as the Center Region. The 6 Center Region municipalities work cooperatively to plan beyond individual municipal boundaries. Trish has worked to emphasize the importance of incorporating walking, biking into transportation network. She has strongly advocated for a more bikeable, walkable community, worked with government officials and the public to adopt a comprehensive bike plan for the entire region, secured funding for infrastructure projects, and is expanding education efforts related to biking and walking. Ladies, would you like to say hello?
Hi, this is Joan.
And this is Trish.
All right, now I'm going to hand everything over to Joan to get started.
Thanks, Nikki. Trish and I are excited to be here. I'd like to start by sharing some interesting background info on the League of American Bicyclists. It was founded in 1880 as the League of American Wheelmen. Bicyclists were called wheelmen back then. Due to the challenges of riding a bike on rutted dirt roads and the antagonism from horsemen, wagon drivers, and pedestrians, by 1898, over 100,000 cyclists had joined the League to advocate for paved roads. They actually signed their names on a massive wheel and presented it to Congress, demanding road improvements. I guess that made quite an impression. So we have the League to thank for their successful first advocacy efforts that ultimately led to our national highway system. And today the League represents the interests of the nation's 70 million cyclists. The League started the successful bicycle-friendly community program in 2002, which evaluates cities, counties, townships, and metropolitan areas. In 2008, they added the bicycle-friendly business and bicycle-friendly state programs, and in 2011, they introduced bicycle-friendly university. Through the bicycle-friendly business, or BFB program, the League recognizes businesses across the nation for efforts to encourage a more bicycle-friendly atmosphere for employees, guests, and communities. The program not only offers recognition, but it also provides guidance and assistance to becoming a BFB. The application can be found online at bikeleague.org. It's a simple process and very informative. The League has made the program open to nearly all U.S. businesses, whether they be private or public sector, small or large, single office or a large corporate campus. There are a couple of exceptions. Home offices and virtual offices are not eligible. A business must have 2 or more regular visitors, which could be employees, customers, volunteers, etc., and only 1 location may be submitted per application. The benefits for the business, well, they're numerous for a business to be bicycle friendly, as you can imagine. Improved employee health and well-being is a tremendous benefit for any business, resulting in reduced healthcare costs, decreased absenteeism, and increased productivity. As a quick example, the Quality Bicycle Products Company in Bloomington tracked their commuter program cyclists for 3 years and compared their healthcare expenditures to the average cost throughout their home state of Minnesota. The results showed the company saved over $170,000 in healthcare costs in just those 3 years alone. The cost of parking also has an impact. Did you know it costs the same to build parking for 75 bikes as it does for just 4 cars? Pretty amazing. So employee benefits from cycling are obvious, and here's a couple interesting tidbits. A study by the American Heart Association mentioned that a 200-pound cyclist burns 546 calories by biking 12 miles in 1 hour, which is about the equivalent of a Big Mac. So if you really want to eat that burger, go ahead, then burn it off riding your bike. And this one was an eye-opener. According to the U.S. Bureau of Transportation Statistics, the average American household spends over $8,000 per year on owning and driving a car. In comparison, it costs less than $300 a year to maintain a bike, a significantly cheaper option. Studies have shown that communities whose residents bike, run, walk, and participate in other activities have increased economic growth and productivity compared to areas with more sedentary citizens. These bike-friendly communities also have higher levels of mental health and well-being. The physical and economic benefits of a healthy populace are so great that reports claim that cities have an economic responsibility to promote cycling, walking, and public transportation, as well as increasing green space and curbing car usage. And on that note, I'll turn this over to Trish to talk about the BFB application.
Great, and what I'll start talking about is the application and give you some examples of things that you can do to become more bicycle friendly. And what you'll see here on this slide is a link to access the online application. So all applications must be done online, and there are 4 major areas that you have to answer questions in: encouragement, engineering, education, evaluation, and planning. And I will just emphasize, do not be alarmed when you open the application. You will not be able to check off every box. It's designed that it captures some of the extremely high-level businesses, but it will give you ideas about things that you can do when you're reading through the application. What's also really important to know is that the program designates businesses at 4 levels. So bronze, silver, gold, and platinum, with the highest being platinum. And just some kudos to Joan and Video on Central that they started out as a bronze and now they're a silver, so they're one of our 5 silvers in the center region right now. We'll have some more information talking about each of the E's now. Now, engineering is what everybody thinks about from the perspective of bicycle-friendly businesses. It's where everybody starts. It's physically what's there. So it will ask you questions such as, do you have showers and locker rooms at your facilities to help with end-of-trip destinations when you get to work? Do you have secure bike parking? So is there a safe place for you to park your bike when you get to that particular location? Do people that come to your business, either employees or customers, have access to a pump or a repair kit? Because we all know at some point you're going to get a flat tire if you're riding a bike. And is it also accessible by bike? So you'll see questions out there suited to, are there trails or bike lanes or a bike share system close to your business? And those are great because if you are close to that, you will get points for doing absolutely nothing if the community has provided those facilities. Now, related to encouragement, this is the second section of the application, and it focuses on things such as celebrating Bike to Work Day. And a little plug for anybody who doesn't know it already, May is National Bike Month, and Friday, May 18th, is National Bike to Work Day. So celebrating that event, providing hosting group rides, offering a bicycle commuter benefit. And if you Google that, you'll find out information about, from the federal tax code, there are benefits to employees for biking to work. And there's other incentives to ride, such as coffee coupons or raffles or having a breakfast event. And is there a bike club at the business or a commuter challenge? And Joan will talk more about how effective that's been at Videon. And does the business sponsor employees to participate in charity rides like the MS 150? So there's activities out there that you can encourage your employees to be a part of, or you can even sponsor it. And one of the things that I think a lot of people think about is, well, we don't have anybody who rides to work by bike regularly. And this may come as a surprise to many people. You don't have to have daily bike commuters that work for you. You can become a bicycle-friendly business just by supporting biking in your community. Now, related to education, this is another one of the E's that's important. You can do things like host commuter classes, so provide basic information as snack breaks at your business, preferably during May, which is Bike Month, because you get extra points for that. You could host maintenance classes by partnering with a local bike shop in your area. You can provide information on how to share the road in your vehicle, and it's really important from a Pennsylvania perspective because we have a 4-foot pass law here, so that when a car passes a bike on a roadway, you have to provide 4 feet of separation between your car and the bike. And you can also distribute bike safety information, so bulletin boards, flyers, email blasts, add information to your newsletters. All of those things count when you are putting together your application. Now, the last E, evaluation and planning, is the one that I think most people may find the most challenging because it requires you to track data, but you can do things as simple as putting together a simple SurveyMonkey survey, which is free to do, and distribute it to your employees. You can set annual goals for ridership, and you can start by, your survey will help you find out what your baseline is, if anybody is currently riding. And the way we did our survey at COG was, we talked about in good weather months. So that's a soft way to roll into it, because we know that there are some people who will ride in harsh winter conditions. Most will not, but we want to encourage people to ride. So we don't need you to ride 12 months out of the year. How about 4 months out of the year? You can also perform bike counts as far as just looking at the number of bikes that are in your racks on a daily basis. I know that I'm going to be recruiting Jada from Parks and Rec, whose window looks at our bike rack, and I'm going to tell her, every time you see a bike, will you put a tick mark on a calendar for me? And maybe I'll buy her coffee or give her donut. Donut might be good. But those are the kind of things that you can do to just start your evaluation and planning process. And you can find more detailed information just by Googling it, getting other ideas. Now, once you've completed that, well, the application review process, there's some things you need to know. There's 4 deadlines per year. We are, the next one that's coming up, the application is due June 5th by 11:59 Pacific time. So if you're a night owl, it gives you a little bit more time here on the East Coast. But what happens is that look at spring, summer, fall, and after a business submits the application, you need to know that it's evaluated in 2 ways. So there's a team of the League of American Bicyclists, so they have a staff review that occurs internally, but also they ask employees, customers, local advocates, local certified cycling instructors to also provide their perspective on the bicycle friendliness of your business. So if you have a bike advocacy group in your area, so in State College it's Center Bike, or you're already a officially designated bicycle friendly business, the league will send out a survey when your application is submitted, and they'll ask those individuals to provide input. So getting them engaged early on, reaching out to your local advocates and telling them you're going to apply and getting tips, hints, and sharing information is a great way to get points on your application. Now, this is the last stage in the review, so it's really important, and local reviewers have definitely made an impact on many of the awards. So if someone thinks you're fabulous, they've seen that you're doing things out there in the community, it carries a lot of weight with the league, because it's important to be visible that you're involved in these types of activities. Now, it's also important to know that all the feedback received by the local reviewers are included anonymously in the feedback report. So when your employees provide comments, you'll see them, but you will have no idea who provided them. So there is anonymity. Now, it's pretty reasonable to apply. If you're a small business and have 1 to 49 employees, or a nonprofit or a government entity, it's only $50. And the scale, of course, it's set to how many employees you have at that particular work location. So if you have 1,000 employees, the application fee is $500. If you are a corporate member of the League of American Bicyclists, so you can join the league, and there should be no surprise that that gets you points for your application. League membership is not extremely expensive, but if you do it at the corporate level, you can apply for free to be a bicycle-friendly business. And just so you know, that once you're designated a bicycle-friendly business, you must renew once every 4 years to maintain your designation. So there's a little bit of work up front when you put together the application and answer the questions, a small token amount if you're a small business to apply, but then the benefits of that will last for 4 years. Now, as far as the benefits of the program, in addition to what we looked at earlier, such as improved employee health, lower rates of absenteeism, improved morale, decreased parking costs, and lower health care costs, the business receives many benefits in just going through the process itself. So recognition and promotion. Each awarded business, so if you are designated for that 4-year period, after which time you can reapply and maintain and improve your award. So awarded businesses are listed in the league website, included in a national press release, and we'll be hearing about the latest round during Bike Week, I'm sure. The league does many activities during the month of May. But awardees are also given a local press release template to help promote the news of their award, and they're listed in the league's Bicycle Friendly America yearbook, which is distributed to members, clubs, and organizations across the nation. So I know that the Center Region COG where I work, we haven't applied. We will be applying in June, but when we applied to become a bicycle-friendly community in 2012, the story was carried in the USA Today. So we were sworn to secrecy and not allowed to talk about it until their press release went out. But one of our elected officials in the Center Region sent me the link and said, "Congratulations, Trish." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Here's the link to the paper." So it does go in sometimes it's carried in very high-profile publications. So think about that as a benefit. As far as inspiration, one objective of the program is to let you know that you're not alone in advocating for better bike conditions in your workplace. So tens of thousands of bicyclists across the U.S. aspire for better accommodations. So you may have a current employee who likes to bike and wants more people to bike, because one of the added benefits of having more people riding is we know it's statistically proven that the more people that bike on roadways, the safer it becomes to bike. It's just vehicles become more comfortable operating with bikes. You become more visible when more people are riding. Everybody's more attuned to it. So it inspires more people to ride. And you might find that some of your employees think, wow, if they can do it, why can't I? And when you provide a cash incentive, which you'll hear about from Joan, it becomes even a better, more people will become involved. Now, this is what I think is one of the biggest benefits of the program, is that you get feedback. So one of the key components, and one that every applicant I've ever talked to brings up, is that the league provides you an extensive list of suggestions to create a more bicycle-friendly workplace to help you improve your standing. So every applicant, whether you receive a designation or not, will receive a feedback report from the league. And what's really valuable about that is it gives you really easy things to do and really hard things to do. So you can decide which you want to work on, and actually it gives you the ammunition to go out there to either your elected officials or your top of your business and say, look, these are the things that they recommended, and I think we can do them easily. And so that document is very valuable. So with that, we've done a review of the application, the benefits. We just want to talk a little bit about what each of us are doing and give you some ideas of things that you could do. And following the webinar, we'll provide our email our email information, and if you want additional information, we're happy to share everything so that we want more bicycle-friendly businesses in the state of Pennsylvania.
Great, thanks, Trish. So Videon's journey to becoming a bike-friendly business began in the spring of 2011. Our CEO, Todd Erdley, is passionate about cycling, and he wanted to find a way to encourage employees to ride and share in his enthusiasm. So Velo Videon was created with a challenge to employees. In exchange for their commitment to ride at least 3 times a week in the good weather months from May to October, Videon would provide $500 towards the purchase of a bike. We partnered with a local bike shop who was willing to offer a discount so that $500 would get employees a pretty decent bike, whether they were interested in mountain biking or road biking. And that first year, 19 out of 60 employees chose to participate, and most had not been on a bike since they were kids. We posted calendars for each in a common area to track how often and how far they rode. It did become a bit competitive, but in a fun way. Everyone would check the calendars regularly to see how others were doing and offer kudos and encouragement. The CEO initially organized some group rides to introduce good places to ride nearby, both mountain bike trails and road rides. And then soon employees began organizing their own groups to explore trails over lunch or after work and on weekends. And they challenged each other to see who could ride the farthest and the fastest, and eventually who could ride up Pine Grove Mountain, which is a local feat, definitely a challenge. And the photo shows an employee celebrating reaching the top. The benefits of Velo Videon quickly became apparent. Although we anticipated the obvious benefits of cycling, like weight loss and improved fitness levels, what came as an unexpected surprise was increased employee camaraderie, enthusiasm, pride in accomplishments, and increased confidence as employees reached goals and participated in events. Everyone successfully completed the 6-month challenge, and when surveyed afterward on what they gained from it, responses included having fun, feeling like a kid again, better sleep, more energy, having time to think while riding, and a newfound joy of riding. Success. Our CEO was thrilled. Velo Videon is now in its 8th year. I better clarify that giving $500 to an employee to participate in this program is just a one-time offer in order to take away the barrier of someone not participating because they don't have a bike. So to encourage employees to continue participating in the challenge in subsequent years, $75 is offered for a bike tune-up or accessories, and a bike jersey is also provided, as you can see in the photo. So as a result of this program, some employees started commuting to work by bike. Although the majority of our staff lives quite a distance away from the office, so bike commuting is not really practical, those tend to keep their bikes at the office so they can ride over lunch or after work. And many have joined together year after year to participate in charity rides to raise money for nonprofits. And they've also inspired friends and family to bike, like me. I talked my husband into joining me. This program has definitely far exceeded our initial expectations. So how did Videon become recognized as a bicycle-friendly business? In the summer of 2011, a member of the Center Region Bicycle Coalition, which is now known as Center Bike, recommended that Videon fill out the application. After reviewing the guidelines, we felt that we had met some of the criteria for the 4 E's that Trish talked about as a result of our Velo Videon program. Such as the engineering section, we had purchased inexpensive bike racks to park bikes inside in every little nook and cranny, as you can see in these pictures. And we set up a space for a few bike maintenance tools for employee use, like a tire pump, wrenches, chain oil, and we also kept a small supply of spare inner tubes on hand for the inevitable flat tires. Encouragement was covered with the employee challenge itself, plus we supported employees' participation in local charity fundraising rides and promoted biking on our Facebook page. For education, the local bike shop agreed to provide a bike maintenance workshop on site, and a Center Bike member offered a bike safety training class. Plus, biking tips were posted in the company newsletter regularly. And lastly, results of the Velo Videon Challenge and keeping track of bike commuters applied to the evaluation section. So we had a really good start, and it resulted in a Bronze BFB award in the fall of 2011. And with that, the success of our first year with Velo Videon and being rewarded with the Bronze BFB recognition, Videon encouraged other businesses to implement biking programs and apply for BFB status. We hosted several events to offer information and advice on our program and the BFB process, and eventually partnered with Centerbike to host community meetings and spread the word. And that ultimately led me to this webinar with Trish. So please feel free to reach out anytime. My email address is included at the end of this presentation, and I'd be happy to provide more details about our BFB journey and provide encouragement for yours.
And before you change the slide, Nikki, I just want to point out the brownies. Those were compliments of Joan, and I will just say Videon has gone above and beyond in the community to try to promote cycling. This is just a picture of 3 of the individuals that were there at this function that was held, I believe, 2 Octobers ago. And the brownies are only a portion of the spread that Videon provided. So you got a full meal if you went to the BFB happy hour that time. So a lot of people walked away really energized, excited, and we've had more submissions to the program since that event. So thanks to Videon. Now, what I want to talk about are some of the things that if you're a government agency or you want to provide more information, just some tips on things that we're doing that would make you more bicycle friendly. Now, I work for the Center Regional Planning Agency, so of course one of the things that we do is we do mapping. So we publish a map every year. We just updated it. We have a summer 2018 map now, and this is provided on our website. We distribute it at locations if people want copies of it. Just providing information and even being a site that hosts a local bike map or bike information is really important from a friendliness perspective. That's the paper map. And then if we can proceed to the next slide, we also have an online map. So what we found is that some people, of course, don't like paper, and they want to be able to zoom in and find real information easily as far as where they are currently at. And this is, if you have a local planning agency or your county planning agency or regional or city agency does mapping, you might want to encourage them to do something online. This gives people a little bit more access, the availability to zoom in and out and look at where facilities currently are. So information is definitely power when it comes to riding. Now, another thing that we've done is that we advocate strongly for biking and walking facilities. So this is an example. This is a recently completed project. We did the ribbon cutting last year. It is a road that links North Atherton Street, if you're familiar with, or South Atherton Street, if you're familiar with the State College area, to US 322, which is a 4-lane limited access roadway. One of the issues about the length of this road is that we have a public State College Area School District middle school is located along it, and at the other end of it, underneath the expressway, we have a very large, relatively new regional park, and they were just going to do a simple resurfacing, and then we stepped in and said, oh, no, PennDOT, we think we need more than that. We don't want this to just be a car zone. What can we do for bikes and peds? You can go to the next slide. This is an example of one of the cross sections where you'll see that we just had some very wide travel lanes, a concrete median, and really no dedicated space for bikes or peds. What you're seeing here is on the right-hand side is that double yellow line. That's the differentiation between a bike lane and the travel lane. So we narrowed the roadway, added bike lanes, and we also added a 7-foot walkway separated by a median on the right-hand side of the roadway as well. We couldn't quite get in the 10-foot width to do a shared use path there because we have a high-quality cold water fishery right next to it, and we couldn't get any closer. But we believe we're accommodating. You know, the casual rider is probably comfortable on a 7-foot path, but we've provided bike lanes as well. And we were part of that process. We inject ourselves in. And if you're not a government entity and don't have that type of staff or manpower, if you know a project's coming, just write letters to your elected officials or PennDOT or show up at public meetings, provide comments about what you think bikes need or what would be good for bikes, and that's part of being a bicycle-friendly business. Now, we also do a lot of education. So that facility, when it opened, was a huge opportunity for us to put programs in the hands of 60 people, I think, that attended the ribbon cutting. So when we do it, we put information in there about bicycle safety, the 4-foot pass law, and we make it a big event. So it's pretty significant because we've created a mechanism to get big players to these events, and then cyclists have an opportunity to talk to them. So it's all part of advocacy. The person in the center cutting the ribbon in the suit and the blue tie is Jim Ritzman. You may or may not know him, but he's actually the Deputy Secretary for Planning at PennDOT in Harrisburg. So he is very high up. We also have our district executive from our local engineering district. We have a representative of Senator Jake Corman's office, U.S. Representative Glenn Thompson's office. Our MPO chair is there, and this is an opportunity for cyclists to thank them for what they've done and just start that dialogue. So we're creating events to help cyclists get in touch with people that make decisions. Now we also, this is one, Joan talked about bike racks and having a pump at the office, but we actually have bike repair stations throughout the region. So at critical locations along our shared use path system in State College Borough, there's something called a bike repair station, and it's that large cylindrical black object. It has a pump, and it also has tools. So and in case you're worried about theft or vandalism, they're attached with aircraft-grade wires. So it's very hard to get them off, although I'm sure somebody will figure it out eventually. But this is something that if you're really interested in supporting the cyclists in your area, if you could have a pump and repair kit in your business with a small sign on the door to let people know they can borrow it if they need it, or you can invest in one of these repair stations near your area, or partner with a local government near you to do that. The interesting thing about it is that you'll find that repair stations bring cyclists and cyclists bring money, and that's really one of the big benefits is that if you're close to a regional touring route or a path, you'll find that touring cyclists bring money with them, and the stats prove it. So it can be as simple as saying, hey, we have a bike pump if you need it, or you can go the extra mile and invest in one of these. They're a little pricey if you're a small business. They can range from $600 to $1,500, so just keep that in mind. You can Google it and find a lot of information. Now, we also put out a lot of educational information, and we distribute this at some locations such as our library or local municipalities. It's also online. We put together a program called Share the Path Center Region to help the types of traffic on our shared use paths mix well, is what I should say. It reviews what the laws are in the state of Pennsylvania, so another opportunity for us to help make our trails safer by letting people know that children under the age of 12 have to wear a helmet. You're required in the state of Pennsylvania to have a white front light that illuminates 500 feet in front of you. When you pass somebody on a path, you need to provide an audible signal by ringing a bell or, say, passing on the left. So it gives us an opportunity to get more information out there. And then the next slide is just the companion sign that is out there physically on all of our shared use paths, so that people know that there are rules that need to be followed and we need to respect other users. Another component for our education program is just trying to get people to know that they have to have lights and reflectors in the state of Pennsylvania. And yes, if you are riding after dark, you can get a ticket if you do not use these because bikes are considered vehicles in the state of Pennsylvania. We actually did a promotion. This is a flyer that we put together. We've been using it in social media, distributing it across the region, but we're going to partner with our transit agency, CATA, and have them actually display it on the buses as well in those dark winter months. Now, another thing you can do is you can, if you are a government entity, or you can encourage your government, your local government. Most of them have what are called variable message boards, and they use them during construction season for detours and alerts, Well, they can also be used to put information out there about biking. So if you have a heavy bike corridor where you don't have designated facilities and you know that cars are passing bikes, you can just simply put a sign up that says yield 4 feet to pass bicyclists. And it'll start people to realize that they need to give that zone. And that's one easy way, if you are a government entity and have access to one, to advertise it. You could also put something out there about Bike Month. May is Bike Month, things like that. Now, we also participate and partner with our local police departments, and Ferguson Township has an annual bike rodeo. And if you look at the information, we go and talk about Share the Path. So we distribute information, we take educational boards. Anytime anybody wants us to go out and talk about bikes, we do that. And that's one of those ways that you can gain points related to encouragement and education. We also have an extremely gifted individual on our staff who does graphics. His name is Steve Arnold, and if you want some examples of what we've done, you'll see, when you email me, you'll see an email come back from me copying Steve, directing him to send you the information. So if you want to use our information and edit it, we can get you the Adobe Illustrator files. We'll send you templates, the information that we provided. But this is an example of some outreach related to the 4-foot path law in the state of Pennsylvania that, unfortunately, I don't think PennDOT's gotten the word out there enough yet. They're working on it, but they need help. And this is one way that you can distribute information. You can put a sign in your window of your business that talks about the 4-foot path law. There's actually little green stickers out there that we could provide you to also distribute. But this graphic parlays into the next slide, which is we did the graphics free of charge at our agency, and then Center Bike, our local bike advocacy group, paid to have them put as advertising on our buses. So for the entire month of May last year, they rolled around on a bus. I think they actually stayed on the bus longer than a month. We heard reports of them being out there longer. And you could sponsor advertising, you could develop the advertising. We would encourage you to develop partnerships with people that you wouldn't think have an interest in bikes. And CATA buses, besides the fact that all of our buses are equipped with bike racks, this is another way CATA can get in the game, and they're actually considering applying to be a bicycle-friendly business as well. Now, another thing that we do is we have a very robust education program now. 2 years ago, our Parks and Rec department was offering 0 bike classes, and we went from 0 to 90. I think we have 10 classes, maybe it's 8 classes scheduled for the month of May, and other classes during the summer. And if you are Parks and Rec and you want to do something that's a money maker, this is the class for you. Beth Lee is one of our program directors in Parks. She wrote a grant to Strider to get free bikes, and I think we have 8 or 9 little Strider bikes. We offer this class to children between the ages of 3 and 7, and we charge $45 a child. So if you're looking for creating some income, find a grant, buy some bikes, teach classes with them. And these kind of classes are pretty simple. They teach kids how to ride on a bike without pedals, and then before you know it, they're riding bikes with pedals, because we don't like training wheels. Training wheels are unstable. We've seen it. Nikki and I have seen it because Nikki did an event with me, and we had one child with training wheels, and it was rather scary. But this is the kind of class, and you can, if you go to the next slide, here's one of the first classes we taught. They're cute. These kids are so cute, and they listen. Most of them listen to us. They might not listen to their parents, but they listen to us. And the next slide is our latest graduating class. They're just adorable. Their parents are appreciative. We do it in, say, 5 classes, and I think it's an hour and 15 minutes for each class. So we do it on a local basketball court. So there's really no outlay here except for we show up and teach the class, and sometimes you can find volunteers to do that. So another event, we've started looking to national events to try to push forward more education programs, and there's something called Critical Mass. And the concept is getting families to ride together and that roads are safe to ride on. Now, we've started out slow, and last year was our first event. We held it entirely in a park following a route, and there was our first group of individuals that participated. So we were happy with the turnout, considering it was raining quite hard. Nikki would know this because she was there with me.
It was cold.
And the kids were happy. They didn't care it was raining. No, the grandparents and the parents weren't too happy. But it was just an opportunity for us to distribute more information, get families riding together, and our next Critical Mass event is scheduled for June 9th. We learned some things. We're having it at what is a flatter location because of the varied skill level of the riders. We'll probably put some more of an educational component at the beginning about bike maintenance and do some things like that. But it's a way to just tag on to national events where all the media, promotion materials are already available. And if you can't host it because you're not a government entity, you could sponsor it. And one of the things I will say about us as a government entity, if you decide that you want to sponsor an event, we will plaster your logo everywhere. It will be on boards, it will be on programs, it will be on flyers, and it's just a way for you to get more exposure. Definitely not cheap, but it's a mechanism. We also, one of the reasons the kids are so happy here is that we do a raffle usually at these types of events. So our local bike shops will donate helmets or gift certificates. So if you're a business, you could donate something from your business as well. It doesn't have to be bike related, but it's just another way to be part of it and support the program. Now, as far as evaluation, we've started a tracking mechanism. This is an older version of the table, but we're starting to track all the education events that occur and how many people participated in them, and that will help you with that criteria related to evaluation and planning. And we've also are looking at outreach events. So to help us plan out and make sure that everybody is doing what they're supposed to be doing, we found that this table is helpful. May is Bike Month, and so for example, the Center Region Council of Governments where I work, we went to our 32 elected officials on Monday night and asked them to proclaim the Center Region in the Center Region Bike Month and May 18th Bike to Work Day. Those types of things are important because they can elevate the topic. You'll make your elected officials aware of it. If you're a business, you can request your own borough council or township supervisors to do the same. It's a way that sometimes the media picks it up and that gets more people interested about biking and what's happening. The other thing we do is we will be promoting Bike Month in the Center Region excessively. People will probably get tired of hearing me talk about it, but this is a program or a flyer that can be printed as a poster or 11 by 17. Another great product by Steve Arnold of our staff. We're happy to share these files with you if you have somebody can edit it. And we're highlighting in this case one of our road riding clubs, the State College Cycling Club, hosts rides on Tuesdays, so we want people to know about that. They're no-drop rides. So even if you haven't ridden for years, they will not leave you behind. There's a sweeper at the end. They'll ride with you. They'll encourage you. They want more people to ride. We also are going to have commuter coffees, or there's one this year at the bicycle shop on Bike to Work Day. So if you ride your bike that day, you can stop by and get free coffee compliments of the bike shop. And you don't have to be a bike shop to do this. So commuter coffees could be sponsored by any business, and magically you get points for doing that. It was funny, I was Googling some things, and I found an ad for a Chipotle in Arizona where it was a wrapped burrito in foil, and the ad was, it fits perfectly in your water bottle. Stop by on Bike to Work Day and get one free.
Yeah.
So we're not sure. We do have a Chipotle here. Someone reached out to them. I'm not sure they're there yet. But those are the kind of things that you can offer to try to get more cyclists into your business if you're a retailer. Now, as I said, we proclaimed on Monday, proclaimed May Bike Month in the Center Region. Here's our resolution. We can share that language if you're interested. We also take care of all of the design graphics and materials for ribbon cuttings. So as a metropolitan planning organization, we work extensively with PennDOT. So in the programming of federal funds, we're there from the very beginning to the end. And by the end, I mean the ribbon cutting events that occur. This is a really big one because this particular facility encountered significant environmental issues when we hit a prehistoric site that required a Phase 3 archaeological dig. So anybody that's done archaeology knows they're very expensive, but we were able to find the money and use Juniata College students and a course to do that work. So we're in there trying to find ways to make projects happen, and this is an example of a great project that's now complete, and we're getting ready for the ribbon cutting. Now, what do we do in the office? Because I talked a lot about our outreach outside of us, how we support biking, how we try to encourage people to bike, but we are just starting to get in the game to try to get our staff to bike. And this is the bulletin board I put together in our staff area the other day, just to promote Bike Month. Most of these graphics are on the League of American Bicyclists website related to Bike Month, and they have camera-ready promotional materials. The two things that we did do that are, or three things that are ours basically, or four, if you look in the lower center of this graphic, we actually put together a map that specifically shows a 3-mile radius of our office. So if somebody was somewhat curious and they wanted to bring their bike and maybe ride over lunch, it would let them know where those routes are at. We also have the poster that we developed for our area. We have our latest summer 2018, I think will go up tomorrow, bike map, and our graphics about the riding at night. But much of the information up there, the Pennsylvania driver's manuals, you can get those from your PennDOT office and distribute them at your location. That green sticker it actually is designed to go on your car if you want to put it there, but that is something that PennDOT is putting out. If you make that information available at your business or your site, that's all part of the game of being a bicycle-friendly business, because you're part of the education realm, even if education isn't what you do. So there's a close-up of this 3-mile radius from our building. We have 5 locations at COG, so we have satellite facilities for our library, our fire station, our active adult center, and we've developed these maps for all of our locations, and they'll be distributed and posted there as well. But this is the thing I'm most excited about. We are trying to find ways to get people to ride to work, and the tough part about it is that most of our employees live really great distances. So we've reserved a park pavilion that's about 1.5 miles from our office, and on Bike to Work Day, which is Friday, May 18th, if you show up there, you can drive your bike and park your car there all day, use safe parking for you, and ride into work. You're going to get free donuts from me. But bigger than that, I mean, all kidding aside, food is a huge motivator, but we also have a wellness committee, and they provide, we have an end-of-year drawing for cash, and it's big money. So if you participate in these sanctioned events, you get an end-of-year drawing, and they've agreed to do that for this as well. So there's just a little route to show you. We made it really simple, no hills. You're going to follow shared use paths. You're going to ride on extremely low-volume residential streets. We just want people to ride the first time, because we know if you ride the first time and you have a positive experience, you'll ride again. And that's what the concept is, encouraging people to ride, not expecting them to ride 45 minutes from their house on a bike, then get a shower once they get to work. It's all about just getting people riding, period. So with that, if you have any questions, you can ask them now, or you can contact us directly, and we're just excited to talk about the program and encourage other people to become more bicycle friendly.
Okay, I don't see any questions in the chat box. Just a reminder, at the bottom left side of the screen, there is a chat box that you can ask any questions. I do want to say a special thank you to Trish and Joan for speaking with us today and all their great information. If you are seeking continuing education credits, the next slide will have a link to the continuing education quiz. It will also be in the chat box at the lower left side of your screen momentarily. And thank you for joining us for the webinar today.